Prediction Markets Edge on the early line, the place to be. And over the next half hour, we got you covered on a lot of topics here that you can get down with in a stock market style edition of yes contracts and no contracts. A different way, Joe, to invest your money. That's how we do it.
It's exactly how we do it here, Donnie, and that's what it's all about in this spot, right? It's all about finding the value, giving yourself an opportunity to be able, I want to know, to hedge out maybe a few of these future bets here and give yourself an opportunity at more profits.
More profits maybe coming in the NBA. Now, you have to actually wait, Joe, till Saturday and Sunday till the first round gets underway, but we're still in the play-in rounds. No basketball tonight, Joe, but big doings tomorrow night, and that starts in Orlando. A 7:30 tip time. Charlotte taking on the Orlando Magic. The favorite right now, not the home team, Joe, which is Orlando. It's actually Charlotte. Charlotte listed at a 61% chance to win this game over Orlando. Orlando is the underdog. Orlando was in Philadelphia last night and took a loss. If you feel they can rebound as the home team, how about a $100 investment would pay back $257? If you take a look at the spread, 3.5 points as Charlotte is the favorite, and that's currently trading at 55%. But Charlotte, the road team, Joe, favorite against Orlando in this knockout stage.
Yeah, and you got to like Charlotte's chances here. Why? Because they can shoot the ball, Donnie, which is more than I can say for the Orlando Magic. And listen, Charlotte, you're going to live by the three, you're going to die by the three. But the reality is you are a much better offensive team than anything Orlando is bringing to the table here. Now, Orlando's been better at home, but I think Charlotte is the side here. And it's a low total here, Donnie, for a Charlotte game, but it feels like, I don't know, it feels like maybe a team total in my future here on the Charlotte Hornets, because I think when push comes to shove, we're going to get more than enough points for Charlotte to win this game going away.
Game number 2 on Friday night, elimination. Golden State staved it off last night with a victory. They're going to take on the Phoenix Suns, who the Phoenix Suns lost their first game. And again, winner moves on, loser goes home. Phoenix currently trading, Joe, as the favorite on Kalshi at 55%, Golden State at 45%. If you feel that Phoenix can win this game by 2.5 or more points, which means a 3-point victory plus, that's a $100 investment would pay back $189. Steph Curry back on the court, 35 points last night in that win over the Clippers. He moves on to take on Phoenix on Friday night, Joe.
So, listen, you got one team very similar to Portland. Portland is another one of those teams, Donnie, that takes, over 50% of their shots from three-point range. And, Phoenix doesn't play that way. Phoenix plays a lot more with shot creation, with Booker, and their ability to be able to get to the paint. They do defend the three well, but they didn't defend it well enough against Portland. How are they going to defend it well enough against Steph Curry and this crew who takes a ton of them? So 3 is more than 2, which leads me sometimes to go, do I really trust Phoenix to be able to defend the 3 and score enough to run away from Golden State? I don't. Either way, though, Donnie, I'm betting an over in this game. I think points are coming.
Do we get a repeat performance? Because on the Kalshi Marketplace, you can also opt in to invest in taking player points props here. Steph Curry scored 35 points last night. If he scores 35 plus on Friday night, currently trading at 24 cents, Joe. That means a $100 investment would pay back $417. Let's flip it over to Major League Baseball. An early afternoon game between Kansas City and Detroit. First pitch at 1:10 p.m. If we look at the pitching matchups here, it's Chris Bubich taking on Kiter Montero. By the way, Bubich's ERA this year, 2.50. Montero's 1.71. And how about this? Currently trading on the predictive markets, Joe, 50% Kansas City, 50% Detroit. How about that?
Yeah, you got to love it. But again, another one of these getaway games and situations, Donnie, where it really does feel like maybe a pitcher's battle here. I do not trust the lineup here or the offense of the Royals to score enough, even against Montero, who, to his credit, Donnie, has been actually pretty good here. And Bubich, the lefty, I mean, let's face it, he is kind of their go-to guy now. And I think he's going to be able to limit the runs. It was another, 2-1 game last night in that. We're not getting a ton of runs here. I think the under is the way to look.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And again, getaway day is always tricky. Make sure you're looking at those final lineups when they become official here. Tonight's game, 6:10 start. It's going to be Baltimore and Cleveland. Cleveland here is the home team currently trading on the Kalshi marketplace with a 53% chance to win this game. Baltimore at 47 cents here. So if you take a look, as Baltimore is the underdog and you invest $100, Joe, that pays back 213, some plus money. If you feel Cleveland on the run line can win by 2+ runs, that's currently trading at 36 cents right now. Baltimore versus Cleveland, 6:10 first pitch tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this kid Messick for the Guardians has been absolutely lights out, this lefty. And the Orioles right now, I mean, they don't hit southpaws at all very good here. And that's the problem. Not to mention they've got some injuries. I mean, Tyler O'Neill, Mountcastle, Adley Rushman, all on the IL. That doesn't leave a lot of hope offensively here against, I think, what is going to be the best pitcher on the Guardians by the time we hit July. They have a big advantage, but both bullpens have been taxed over the last couple of days. So I'm more about earliness here with the Guardians. I think a first 5, backing them at home in this spot with a pitching advantage is the way to look.
And getting started early on offense also. Same thing as you would have on a sports book here. You can get in the predictive markets. The Yerfy-Nerfy market. Yes run in the first inning. No run in the first inning. Currently trading to the yes at 46 cents. So a $100 investment if they score in inning number 1 would pay back $218. The San Diego Padres winning streak here. Will it continue? Walk-off home run last night as we take a look at Jackson Merrill in hour number 1 of the early lines. Like, yeah, went yard at this point, and away we go. Let's see if they can extend that today. Seattle, though, however, trading is the favorite, Joe, at 53%. And you take a look at San Diego at 47%. Currently a contract on the yes, which means a win tonight for the Padres, is at 48 cents, which means, Joe, a $100 investment will pay back $209 if that winning streak continues today.
Well, it's kind of hard. Are we stepping in front of that train here? But if I'm Seattle, my goodness, like you had a 4-run lead heading into the bottom of the 9th with one of the best closers in the game in Munoz, and you forked over 5 runs and lost it in walk-off fashion. Tough to come back from that. And right now, they're just not hitting enough for my taste to look at them, even with a slight pitching advantage on the mound. I still think it's the Padres in this one.
Leave out the bullpens, Joe. Just want to take the first 5 innings. You can do that on the Kalshi marketplace. Seattle wins the first 5 innings tonight. Forget about the bullpens. That's currently trading at 51 cents to the contract for a yes. $100 investment pays back $197. Now, same thing we do on the early line in the first part of the show. Our Fade the Public poll, that continues right here in the predictive markets. And that question we want answered here at SportsGrid: will the Hawks versus Knicks playoff series go over 5 games? The yes, Joe, or the no, Joe? What are you thinking here? By the way, public's really spoken in on this one, huh?
Yeah, I do think this is going to be a good series. I've got it down in 6 here, Donnie. I think that's going to be the magic number. I think the Knicks are going to have their hands full in this spot. And, yeah, I don't think it's going to be 4 or 5. I think it's going to be closer to 6 or 7 when it's all said and done.
By the way, and how this is written, I'm going to have to check in here to see where this is coming up at, because we have it listed there as Polymarket. Now, it's written as, will the Hawks-Knicks playoff series go over 5 games? Does that mean it can go 5 games, or does that mean it has to go 6 games at this point? Always reading the fine print there, Joe, which is might have to get into here. Let me do a quick check on this. What do you think how that reads here?
Yeah, nor you would think, or I never assume, but you would think that it means is it 5 or more, and basically eliminating the. But really, what it is it going to be 6 or 7 games? Is what you're asking? If 5's not included, I don't know. Is 5 a push? Is 5 or is 5 a loss? What is it?
5 is a loss, Joe, because it really reads Hawks versus Knicks total games over under 5.5, which means the rules are the market will resolve to over if more than 5.5 games are played in the 2026 NBA playoffs first round series between the Hawks and the Knicks. So there you go, Joe. Over 5, like, hey, yeah, win 5, I got my ticket. No. It's got to go 6 or 7 games, which, by the way, I think it will. Do you think it'll go there, Joe? Think we're getting the game 6 or 7?
I do. I do. I think Atlanta's going to be a tough out for them.
And I think we'll be back right after this break with more TME. Prediction Markets Edge, right back at it here on the early line, fun on a Thursday. And by the way, Joe, today is a Thursday. Did you know next Thursday is the NFL Draft round number 1? Then it takes place on Friday, and then you get some action on Saturday, and away we go. But the question we don't really want to ask is, well, who's going to be the number 1 pick? You know, it's going to be Francisco Mendoza going from the Indiana Hoosiers to the Vegas Raiders. But the question comes up, Joe, and it's a heated debate. Who is going number 2 overall? Avril Reese, superstar pass rushing linebacker from Ohio State, 54% is a chance. David Bailey, Texas Tech, outstanding pass rusher, 49% is a chance, Joe. Intertwining, I should say, right up till draft night. What are we thinking? Reese, Bailey, or more?
Well, Reese is the logical answer, Donnie. But, Bailey is still very young. I think he's one of the youngest guys in the draft. I think he just turned 20. And listen, if it's the one thing that the Jets and other teams are going to need is pass rushers, right? So, this is a kid that you can kind of take in, you can mold. You can't teach athletic ability, Donnie, and this kid is an absolute monster here, but he's raw in a lot of spots. But defensive-minded head coach there, and I tend to think that I would not be shocked if he is the one coming out of Texas Tech to land with the 2nd overall pick here.
Pass rushers need them, Joe. Superstar corners, superstar quarterbacks, superstar pass rushers go hand in hand with winning formulas here. And certainly looks like we're going to have one of those number 2 overall draft picks be a pass rusher, but we'll find out on next Thursday night. And also next Thursday night, it is round number 1, and everybody's going to get to have a pick if it is available. So the question here, Joe, pro football players drafted in the 1st round. Now, granted, if you want to go out and say to yourself, well, I'm going to take a flyer out that Mendoza goes in the 1st round, congratulations to you. But we want to take a look at some of these players that have a lot of intrigue maybe later in the round. And the one thing we do know, Joe, quarterbacks always get overdrafted regardless year after year. Ty Simpson, quarterback of the Alabama Crimson Tide, he's currently trading at a 56% chance to go in round number 1. So a $100 investment would pay back $176. I do think Ty Simpson goes in the 1st round because when you get late, Joe, 32, 31, 30. That means you get that extra year that you can keep them as opposed to drafting them in the 2nd or 3rd round. Ty Simpson to go in round number 1. I don't have any inside information. I just know quarterbacks get overdrafted, and I think he goes in the 1st round.
Yeah, and listen, Donnie, it's a good point here because it's the one position everyone needs help in. And when you get to the bottom of the board in the 1st round, what's the best available player on the board? And if they need a quarterback, yeah, you can count on it. I had him projected as a 2nd rounder, but it wouldn't shock me if he goes because he's really the only quarterback in this draft that has a chance of going either in the 1st or the 2nd round, I believe.
How about the team to draft Arvell Reese? And again, you're talking about a guy that's expected to go at least number 2 or number 3. So it brings into the fact that, yeah, Vegas is probably not going to draft him because they're taking Mendoza. But you look at Arizona, 52%. The New York Jets, 52%. Why? The Jets, number 2. Arizona, number 3. Which team's going to grab Reese? That's going to be determined next Thursday night, Joe. But an even keel, Arizona and New York Jets right now because we don't know who's going number 2 just yet.
Yeah, listen, we don't even know if the Jets or Arizona are going to stay in the positions there. They
True.
may trade and get down and get more draft capital and all of that good stuff. But I do think if the Jets don't get Reese, then it means that they went with Bailey out of Texas Tech, which means who's ever left to Arizona between those two is likely going to be off the board here by the time we get to the 4th pick.
Carson Beck played some good football for the Miami Hurricanes last year. He also is a quarterback, and as you said, quarterbacks like to get overdrafted. Do we think he's going in round number 1? No, we don't. But how about this? The favorites to draft Carson Beck right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Joe, at 40%, and Green Bay, who you know loves to draft a good quarterback here and have him wait in the wings for a couple years before they can be a superstar player. Green Bay at 38%. Then it falls off to the Cleveland Browns around 25%. So Pittsburgh and Green Bay, the leaders right now for Carson Beck.
Yeah, interesting here, right? I think that's going to be very interesting is to see. We know there are some teams, Donnie, that absolutely need some help as best they can. And listen, it's not like it's not a guy that can't come in that hasn't played a ton of football. They've got all the tape on him. They know exactly what they can get. And listen, we've seen this in years past. Chris Winkie and others, guys that have been, it feels like they played 10 years in college. They're gonna land on a team, Donnie, and it wouldn't shock me if it is Pittsburgh, who better figure something out at that position sooner rather than later.
Jeremiah Love, he's going in the top 10. The question is who's going to pick him. And maybe a couple years ago, that wouldn't be the case, but the resurgence of the running back is a big deal. Tennessee, which currently sits here, Joe, with the 4th overall pick, they're the favorites to draft Love at a 46% chance, followed by Washington, who comes in at the 7th pick, the New York Jets at the number 2 pick, and then a little bit farther down, the New York Giants at the 5th overall pick. The team to draft Jeremiah Love, Joe, who do we think that's going to be?
It's tough, Donnie. I mean, listen, he was a great, fantastic, running back, Notre Dame college career, but I'm not, is he a Bijan Robinson, right? Is he that kind of talent that he's good? I still don't think he goes in the top 10. Call me crazy. I think this is going to be all about defense and linemen here, but if he does, Donnie, I call me nuts. Wouldn't shock me if the Rams maybe get involved in this spot here, or believe it or not, the Jets, who have more than enough picks here apparently to be able to consider getting a running back as well.
Like, you want those superstar running backs. Like, Love could be that guy, but he's really like the cherry on top, Joe, right? Like, hey, we have a team that we think can make a deep run. Yeah, we'll draft top 10 and be able to get this guy. Maybe it's like a Kansas City at 9, even though Donnie, they don't. They signed Kenneth Walker III, but trust me, Andy Reid's sitting there with Jeremiah Love at the 9th to go, wonder what I can do with 2 running backs with Patrick Mahomes coming back. Move it over to the NBA playoffs, Joe, and the question we asked the public, the Hawks and the Knicks, total games over 5. Will it get to 6 or 7? It's currently trading at a 60% chance on Polymarket that we do go over the 5.5 games, which means, Joe, we need to see a game 6 in order to cash in that investment.
I still think 6 or 7 games in that spot, Tony. I think the Hawks are a very unique setup. They're a different team than what they were with Trae Young. Jalen Johnson is a legit threat, and they shoot a ton of threes. And you know what the Knicks don't do well? Defend the 3. They're gonna have their hands full in this series.
How about this one? Rockets and Lakers. If everybody was full healthy, we'd love to see it, but the Lakers aren't fully healthy, which means, Joe, do we get to see 6 games in this series? It's currently a 53% chance that we go over the 5.5 games.
I think this goes 5, Donnie. I think the Lakers will get 1 as currently constructed, and that's all.
That's it, boy, and that's what we do on Prediction Markets Edge. Try to predict the future. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Not all these kids, but the majority of these kids in the top 10 have had things handed to them since they're in 3rd grade because they're special athletically. And the fact that they get humbled a little bit, I'm here for the humbling. I've been humbled. I like when other people get humbled.
But you were humbled later.
Yeah.
You weren't humbled at 22 in front of the world.
No.
You were a grown-ass man.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
For those people who use YouTube, there's a new feature that is powered by AI. And what is this exactly, Simon?
So let's say you're watching Yankees highlights, and you can say, YouTube, when is the next game at Yankee Stadium? You see that information on the screen. How much is the cost? What seats are available? You see that information on the screen. All right, call the Yankee Stadium box office. I want to make a reservation for 2 tickets.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
This team feels slow, it feels old, it feels uninteresting. It just kind of feels like a lot of guys who are quality ball players, some big contracts, but are just like lethargic when they're out there. Like Manny Machado moves in slow motion, so does Nick Castellanos, so does Xander Bogaerts, so do a lot of these players in this lineup. And I might be piling on a little bit too deep, but this was supposed to be a contender for a World Series.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
We may be talking about this as one of the best divisions in baseball. It's not generally something we do, but if the Pirates just hold court and the Reds just hold court and the Cubs are in this thing, the Brewers are going to be there in the end too. I mean, that's 4 of the 5 teams. I do think the Cardinals are going to push back at some point. They'll fall back a little bit, but I got 4 teams with a possibility of making the postseason here, Donnie.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
We love to talk football and prediction markets edge. The real football, Joe? How about the UCL Atletico taking on Arsenal? This is April 29th at 3 p.m., Joe. And if you're currently looking right now on Kalshi in the predicted markets, Arsenal with a 41% chance to win this match. Atletico 35%. And then the tie coming in at 38%. And me not betting a lot of footy here, Joe, I assume the tie would mean it goes to extras. You cash that ticketing, correct?
Yeah, it would be regulation. Yes, Donnie.
Yes.
Will it happen in regulation or not? And that's, that's not a bad way to look at some of these, especially with some of these prices. But listen, this is the best that it gets, right? I mean, the Champions League, this is the best soccer from around the world. And who's going to get it done? It's not like both of these teams have not been there or done this before, but I do like Arsenal. I like their chances, and they are currently the favorite, trading at around, 41 cents here? If it ain't broke, I don't think we should fix it, and they haven't been broke all year long.
By the way, Joe, does the MLS champion get to play in the Champions League?
No.
Oh, come on. Why not?
No.
Why do we discriminate against the MLS, Joe? It's not right.
I agree.
It's not right.
I agree. They should have a shot to get in there.
Can't you see that, like maybe Miami or, United or whoever it would be, Real Salt Lake playing Paris Saint-Germain here, but Paris Saint-Germain is going to take on Bayern Munich, Joe. Did you know the favorite on April the 28th is actually PSG, currently trading at a 43% chance to win this match. Bayern Munich at 37%, and then the tie, Joe, 27%. PSG, the favorites here.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because I know a lot of guys that love Bayern Munich here to take it all down. So as a matter of fact, I mean, a lot of guys, it's Bayern, then it's PSG or Atletico, but not so much here right now as you've got PSG getting an awful lot of love in this market. But at that price, I think Bayern Munich, not only to handle this, but handle business overall, Donnie, is not a bad way to look.
Certainly not a bad way to look. Let's take a look at Live Golf here. Well, at least we know they're going to get at least one more tournament in Mexico City. The favorite to win this, John Rahm, currently trading at a 20% chance, followed by Bryson DeChambeau at 15%. Like, Live Golf feels like it's almost like the retirement tour. Like, I slide it down, like, whatever happened to Dustin Johnson, currently trading at 3 cents to win this tournament? $100 investment on DJ pays back $3,334 here. Tyrell Hatton maybe gets a hole-in-one and shows out in this one. He's trading at 7% right now, but there's a lot on the mind of some of these big-time golfers like Rahm and DeChambeau. How about fading those two golfers? Because there's a lot of stuff going on off the golf course that maybe they're paying attention more than what's going on in Mexico City.
All right, listen, but the talent is the talent, right? So I think DeChambeau, who's had a couple of extra days since he didn't make the cut at the Masters,
That's true.
Would like to get back in the winner's circle here. And what better way to do? He can, take that 3D printer and print out a new set of clubs for this tournament there, Donnie, and maybe it'll help his game here a little bit. But going into the Masters, I believe he had won the last two live tournaments here. So why not make it 3 in a row here with Bryson?
Could it be? And also, we do have some action in Mexico City and also action on Hilton Head Island, the RBC Heritage. Who's going to win that? By the way, Joe, in the Kalshi Marketplace, close to $22 million invested in this, and Scotty Scheffler is the favorite at 19%, followed by Xander Schauffele at 6% and Matthew Fitzpatrick at 5%. It's always Scotty as the heavy favorite, Joe.
As well as it should be here, especially in a tournament that he won just a couple of years ago. And yeah, it looks like his game is starting to come around here. He's got a lot going on over the last to start this season here. He's got a new addition to the family. He's been trying to work in a new driver. So I think he's close, and it wouldn't shock me if this is the signature event that he gets back in the winner's circle.
And by the way, for me, again, fading Scotty Scheffler, which barely got by in the Masters to not win a major this year, it's like, okay, we'll see what happens. Well, if you just want to fade Scotty Scheffler in this tournament, the no contract on him is 82 cents, which means a $100 wager would pay back $122. You get every single golfer in the field, but Scotty's going to be there on day number 4 trying to ruin a good time that you had here. But how about this? We always talk about Scotty Scheffler not getting off to great starts in tournaments. How about RBC Heritage end of round 2 leader, Joe, that you can dip your toes in that market? And of course, it's going to be Scotty Scheffler. He's trading at a 32% chance to be the leader at the end of day number 2.
And that's actually cheap here. Yes, I think absolutely. He's got I think Hovland is another guy. I think Xander Schauffele is another guy that you can keep an eye on here that might come out of the gates firing as they are all playing very, very well right now.
Yeah, and also, if you're looking at the round 2 leaderboard, you want to fade Scotty Scheffler again. It's not all that profitable, by the way. A $100 investment will pay back $112 if Scotty isn't the leader on day number 2. Now, then you get the day number 3 and day number 4, which is the victory there. It's probably going to be Scotty Scheffler. You're just hoping for a stumble early on where he doesn't wake up until Saturday morning and decides to play here. That'll do it for today's episode here of Prediction Markets Edge on the Early Line. We'll see you on Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Not all these kids, but the majority of these kids in the top 10 have had things handed to them since they're in 3rd grade because they're special athletically. And the fact that they get humbled a little bit, I'm here for the humbling. I've been humbled. I like when other people get humbled.
But you were humbled later.
Yeah.
You weren't humbled at 22 in front of the world.
No.
You were a grown-ass man.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
For those people who use YouTube, there's a new feature that is powered by AI. And what is this exactly, Simon?
So let's say you're watching Yankees highlights, and you can say, YouTube, when is the next game at Yankee Stadium? You see that information on the screen. How much is the cost? What seats are available? You see that information on the screen. All right, call the Yankee Stadium box office. I want to make a reservation for 2 tickets.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
This team feels slow, it feels old, it feels uninteresting. It just kind of feels like a lot of guys who are quality ball players, some big contracts, but are just like lethargic when they're out there. Like Manny Machado moves in slow motion, so does Nick Castellanos, so does Xander Bogaerts, so do a lot of these players in this lineup. And I might be piling on a little bit too deep, but this was supposed to be a contender for a World Series.
In-game live. Only on SportsGrid.
We may be talking about this as one of the best divisions in baseball. It's not generally something we do, but if the Pirates just hold court and the Reds just hold court and the Cubs are in this thing, I mean, the Brewers are going to be there in the end too. I mean, that's 4 of the 5 teams. I do think the Cardinals are going to push back at some point. They'll fall back a little bit, but I got 4 teams with a possibility of making the postseason here, Donnie.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.